7A.
What number is this, Chip?
7A.
Okay, no, I mean, like, don't get excited, man. It's because I'm short, I know.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. My shaven razor's cold and it stings. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream?
How do you define a generation? And do those defining factors divide our world in an impactful way? Our worlds can change so much over short periods of time that growing up not 10 years apart from someone is a completely different experience because of upbringing and environment. Some people like to romanticize the past and compare the way they grew up to others' experiences as superior, while others are happy with the evolution of society and culture. Whichever way you look at it, there are pros and cons in every time period, and the people who grew up in different eras have vastly different backgrounds that make them who they are. Pop culture impacts every teenager in their time, from music to movies, fashion, and world events. They all play a part in shaping a generation. The media has an active role in influencing teenagers throughout time. It can be argued that music was better 50 years ago, or that teens today are more passionate about world issues. So I want to give people the opportunity to express their feelings on these topics and share what they think about being a teenager in their generation and what it is or was like. I sat down with a few people from different generations and got their opinions on generational differences and what their teenage experience was like.
Hello.
Hi! What is your favorite thing about being a teenager in your generation?
My favorite thing probably about being a teenager in this generation is everyone accepting each other and our ability to take action for issues, and I feel like we're all connected through social media and we all hype people up and just have fun, you know?
My favorite thing was probably the independence that I had as a teenager. Being able to leave the house and go across town and go out with my friends at any point in time and just enjoy life and the freedom of it.
I should have asked you these questions ahead of time. Then I could have thought about it. I don't know. I guess working part-time, different stores, we always had a lot of fun. I never loved school very much, so. And we had a lot of activities, which I enjoyed. So. And we went to, from the time we were 15, we could go to dances at the church, which they don't have anymore. They were called Young People's Clubs.
And what was your least favorite thing?
Probably the same as a lot of teenagers experience, just the difficulties growing up with more responsibilities, more expectations in terms of high school, and just trying to fit in like everyone else.
Being so technologically dependent, I say. I mean, we do go outside a lot, but like I feel like if there wasn't as much technology, we'd be able to be outside more just like past generations and do things like out of the ordinary that aren't just texting and more like going and ringing on someone's doorbell to say hi or something like that and sending letters.
Oh, having all the rules. Yes. It was very funny in our house. I was the oldest, so Mom and Dad made me have all the curfews and the rules of this and that. And then my sister, 4 years later, comes along and she He has no rules. So I never thought that was particularly fair, but that's the way it shook out.
What are the expectations of a teenager in your time?
Definitely to do well in school and get good grades. Be involved in the community, like through volunteer work or sports, and also like once you're older, get a job, things like that.
Let's see. You should be thinking about what you want to do when you're through school. Nobody much went to university, so your options in those days were not wonderful. In the high school I went to was an all-girls high school, and it was the question of, did you want to be a teacher? You could go to teacher's college. Did you want to be a nun? You could enter the convent. You could be a nurse. A lot of my girlfriends went down to St. Mike's and trained as a nurse for 3 years. Or you could just go to work.
Expectations in terms of, like, probably similar to what they are today, taking on, as I mentioned, new responsibilities and probably being more accountable for your actions. Also starting to be more independent, and also, I guess, just growing up and understanding what that means and trying to find a way for a long-term career.
What would you say defines your generation?
It's a good question. Probably progressive and I guess like maybe like social media and like connected, I say. Like we're very connected through our social media, even like through a pandemic, like we all stayed like good friends and stuff like that.
I think our generation was very unique in terms of everyone wanted to express their own identity. And that's, you see that in all the different types of music and genres of music and the way different people were like in high school. There was all kinds of different groups and people like different types of music. And I think that was quite unique. And they were a generation where like we experienced a lot of new things, like music videos, and grew up with probably many more pop cultural exposure to a lot more pop culture than the previous generations.
I guess the war being over, everybody was a lot happier. Everybody went kind of a little crazy first. Just relaxed a little bit. I got married in '63 when I was 20, so I didn't exactly live a single life for very long. And most of my friends were getting married too. You know, got married early and most of it. So.
Were you born in the wrong generation, as some might say?
I don't think so, but it's kind of hard for me to, I'm not one to kind of like regret or put myself in it. I'd have a hard time putting myself in a different generation and thinking that would have been better for me or ideal.
No, I don't think so. I think I was born in the right generation. Because I don't know, I'm very like passionate about like social justice issues, and nowadays like it's very like our generation is very progressive and fighting for those things, so I think so.
Okay, last question. What does the saying "the good old days" mean to you?
I don't know. I guess being much older. Because there was, always a lack of money when we were younger. I didn't work when David and Lynn were little, so we were very tight with trying to do anything extra. You learn to be pretty expensive sometimes. And we all traded clothes for our kids constantly, so we very rarely bought anything. So, you know, they were good years in their own way, but it was much nicer when I could go back to work and the money was freer. You know, I could do different things.
To me, it means, it's kind of a saying that was before my time, so I don't really look at it as the good old days in my generation. But if I had to put it in my generation, then I would probably say the teenage years and the years of going through both university as well as my 20s.
I would say, like, that's a really hard question. The good old days. Like, I guess, like, maybe when you were younger and, like, carefree and, like, you just made friends with everyone and you weren't, like, no one was judgmental. Everyone just kind of, like, was friends with everyone and, like, didn't really care.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. The good old days means something different to everyone. Whether it's a way to reminisce on nice experiences or an excuse to bash on the present and create a false image of the not-so-perfect past. It's nice to think of simpler times when the world gets a little hectic. We may all have our different experiences, but one thing's for sure. Being a teenager is not so easy, no matter the year. But looking back, they are the definition of the good old days.